Julie Wang is the first Asian woman to circumnavigate Earth in an airplane. She is also the first Chinese pilot and the 9th woman ever to fly an airplane solo around the world. Julie Wang was born in Chongqing, China, to parents who were professors in aerospace research at the Harbin Institute of Technology. Wang was surrounded from childhood by engineers and aerospace academics and dreamed about becoming a pilot. Her parents advised a path towards engineering, but Wang at first had a different plan for her life. She studied journalism and advertising in Xiamen University and spent 17 years as a successful global advertising executive. In 2010, Wang relocated to the United States with her family and began training as a pilot. Since obtaining her pilot's license in 2011, Wang has logged over 1,800 hours of flight time. She is now the owner and instructor of Zulu Time Pilot, a flight school in the U.S. specializing in bilingual instruction for Chinese students. Wang made history in September 2016 by becoming the first Chinese person to complete a solo flight around the world. She made the flight in a Cirrus SR22 and covered around 38,500 kilometers in 18 flight days, passing over 24 countries. Julie Wang joined us in our studios in Beijing to discuss her life, her aviation career, and her historical flight around the world. Welcome to ICON.
Thank you.
I'm so happy today that I'll be able to talk to you because you're the first Chinese, man or woman, first Chinese to finish this solo journey, solo voyage.
Yeah.
And you're the first Asian woman to finish that voyage around the world flying this plane.
This one, yeah.
How huge is this one?
Inside only 4 seats, and the space is smaller than the car.
Small, I mean inside the plane.
If you sit in the cockpit, you really can't move that much. It's not like cars, comfortable to move.
So, not a plane that, not like a plane of Boeing or aircraft or C919.
No.
Those huge planes.
No.
It's a small one.
Small one.
How high did you fly?
8,000 to 12,000 feet.
Which in meters would be?
About 3,000 meters.
3,000 meters, which is not high.
Not high.
Where you would encounter all different kinds of weathers.
Correct.
Even storms or huge wind.
Yeah, if you fly the airlines, those jets really above the weather. But this kind of aircraft, you will hit all the weathers.
So you knew that would happen.
Yeah.
So that's part of the challenge.
This part of the challenge.
Flying solo.
Yeah.
But how crazy is it to fly solo?
There were only me, no passengers or
no one helping you arrange all that.
So it's a lot of groundworks I have to handle. It's not only flight. The flight is 14 hours in air. After landing, I spend time to do more works, and before takeoff, I spend another 2 hours to prepare for the next leg.
So you have no helpers, no assistants. You're your own navigator. You're your own engineer. You're everything.
Actually, I have a team on the ground. One is my husband.
Okay.
He has to send the engine oil to 3 points. I need to change the oil every 40 hours. Then I flew out of United States. I don't have the oil. So he has to bring the oil to me and send to me. I change the oil. And another guy is helping me to get the international clearances after China. So I have ground support team.
But in the air?
In the air only.
It's all you?
Yeah.
Not scared at all?
Not really. It's really enjoyed. The whole process.
Enjoyable?
Yeah. It's self-challenge. I know that I'm going to take this challenge, and I face this challenge, and that's accomplishment.
How many stops? How many cities did you stop? I mean,
the total is
the whole trip.
19 landings.
And the whole trip, how long did it take?
The flight days is 18 days.
18 days.
Yeah.
That was quite quick.
Yeah.
Right? 18 days.
That's also part of the challenge. 18 days.
Part of the challenge.
Yeah.
So were you also, at the time, in your mind, targeting a record?
No, not really. Not really.
You just wanted to finish a round-the-world trip.
Yeah.
And that's it?
Yeah.
That's what you had in your mind?
Right.
When did this happen? Your journey, your voyage.
2016. August 17 is the first flight from Texas to California. And I stopped at California for about 2 weeks. Flying inside of United States, mainland of United States, is not that challenge.
Okay.
Not that much.
You did it anyway before?
Yes.
Around the US
So the
trip,
real challenge started from California to Honolulu. Cross the first challenge leg. That's
the first leg?
First leg.
How long did it take?
14 hours in the air.
Was it the longest?
It is the longest leg. Yeah. It's about 2100 nautical miles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Flying a plane like this.
Yeah.
It's slower than any airlines.
Oh, it's
right?
much slower.
Much slower.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the longest leg was the one that took you from California to
Hawaii.
Honolulu.
Yeah.
Which leg is the, say, most difficult?
The most difficult leg actually is this leg. Because of that leg, if something happens, you have no place to land. It's just the ocean.
By the sea.
Yeah, that's just the ocean, no place to land. So mentally is the biggest challenge. So I took off from California, really focused, and my attention became very focused and refined.
Did you encounter any troubles?
Actually, not really. That flight, the weather is nice and really smooth, and something surprised me. I calculated the fuel consumption, and I got really nice number. It's even better than the Cirrus advertising number.
This seemed to be a reliable plane to fly with.
Yeah.
Did you have any experience actually before this to fly this plane?
Before this, I had like 1,600 hours flight experiences similar to this plane, but the basic system are same.
So you knew how they would perform in the air?
Yeah.
You were kind of prepared, no matter what?
Right.
Unless the weather turned out to be not as expected.
Yeah. I have to manage the risk. If something happens, I have to help myself to be survived.
Now, you said when you took off in California, that's when the real beginning of this journey.
The challenge,
right?
yeah.
The challenge, the real challenge.
Yeah.
Were you not nervous or scared at the moment before you were about to take off?
The reality is, I'm not nervous. I wasn't. Really wasn't. And not so much emotional involved until I got some time to relax myself, and that emotionally involved is not panic at all. It's just excited.
So when you're in the plane, being a pilot, you're always this logical, rational, you're always
procedures, everything is checklist, procedures. It's very cold to do my thing. So even some emergency happen, I'm not going to be like, wow, it's dangerous, I'm dying. Doesn't have this at all. It's just procedures.
So anything happens, you will go to, say, if there is a manual, you will go to the manual first. See what you should do under these circumstances.
Make decision, troubleshoot, make decision. And probably after landing, if I think about this, oh, that was scary, but during flight, doesn't have that thinking.
Wow. So confidence is built on the hours of training.
I think, the capability.
Being rational, logical all the time. Capability. And how many hours did you spend on preparing for this trip?
I think 3 or 4 years ago, I have already told my friends, I want to fly around the world.
That's when you just barely started your flying career.
Yeah. And already had that thinking, but didn't have the time to set up. I'm going to fly around the world on which year. Never had this thinking. Just naturally happened when I'm ready, when I can do it.
You had that in your mind?
Yeah. I love the Pacific Ocean because that's one of my goals, to fly westbound, to fly around world trip. I want to fly that trip and land it at middle of the Pacific Ocean. If I don't do this from this trip, I have no chance to go there to fly low altitude and above the Pacific Ocean, because of those islands doesn't have the general aviation at all. You can't just go there, rent a plane. They don't have it.
That's right.
And I landed in Marshall Island, Majuro. And after landing, it's already dark, and I bought the fuel from a business guy who had the fuel from 2 years ago. Only 140 gallons is enough for me to fly to Guam, but not enough for top off my fuel. So it's okay.
Right.
So when they start to put the fuel into my ferry tank, it's very strange smell there. And I said, no, that's not the fuel I want.
Not the same quality?
Yeah, not the same thing. And I went to their truck and see the label. My plane was using the 100 low lead.
Okay.
And the label's 100. It's not low lead, it's 100. So based on this aircraft's engine, it's okay for 100, either 100 or 100 low lead, but not mixed. And I told them, stop, don't do it. And I will let you guys know tomorrow morning. I need to have a solution. So I made a lot of phone calls. I went to a Chinese restaurant to get a Wi-Fi to Google, and called my friend to study this 100 and 100 low lead. I even called Cirrus people. I got this situation. I got different answers. Somebody said, it's fine, no problem.
Never happened before.
Yeah, somebody said, don't do it. You're crossing Pacific Ocean. If anything happens, you're doomed.
Exactly.
And I was sitting in the Chinese restaurant, and the local people talking to me, they said, wow, you're alone, you're a woman. You fly into this little island. You're doing fly around the world trip. And they feel it's amazing, and they told me the story. The first woman tried to fly around the world. Amelia Earhart crashed here.
That's such a good story, huh?
Yeah. And I was thinking, oh, that's a good story.
Yeah, good to know.
I don't want to stop here.
You just wanted to leave.
Yeah.
Did it work?
Next day, I called the business guy. Come over to the airport. Put your fuel into my ferry tank, the main ferry tank and the front ferry tank, 2 ferry tanks. It's mixed. That's it. My main tank, the tank in the wing.
Yeah.
The main tank, this one left 30 gallons. This one left 46 gallons.
Okay. How long could they fly?
About 6-7 hours. 6
Okay.
hours. So I took off by the left main tank. Usually every hour, I transfer the fuel from the ferry tank to the main tank. But this time I didn't. I just burned the main tank. And about 2-3 hours later, this one empty. This one already empty. Now I'm going to try the ferry tank. I told myself, let me try the mixed one, called the dangerous one.
If anything happens.
If anything happens, I will switch the fuel tank to the right wing and fly back to Marshall Island.
It's all calculated. You still had enough fuel
Enough,
at the time.
because this one is much more fuel than this one.
Okay.
And this fly around world trip basically stopped.
Exactly.
I cannot continue because
That's
I have to
right.
wait for
That's
another
right.
2 months to get the fuel, and weather is cold. So it's a failure to
Yeah,
fly
still,
around
but it's still better, way better than sacrifice your,
right. I need
risk
to be alive.
your life, yeah?
Yeah. So my solution is called dangerous fuel into the engine. If engine doesn't work normally, I'm going to change to the right wing.
Right.
Main tank, fly back. If I change to the main tank, the engine
Still
didn't work. I'm going to do the procedure in the air, start engine. If it still doesn't work, the last thing is parachute.
Wow.
So I have to prepare my everything. I know after I pull the parachute, I don't have a lot of time. And after the aircraft touch to the water, it's very fast, will sink into the water. So I need to prepare everything. So I prepared myself. And the bad fuel flew into the engine.
And your hand was in the parachute?
No, my hand was on the fuel selector. I'm going to change. If something happens, I will change to the right tank.
Listen to the engine.
Listen to the engine and really looking at the engine's indicators to see all the numbers. So nothing happened. Really nothing happened. The engine works very well.
Wow.
But I know after I land in Guam, they don't have 100 fuel again. They have the 100 low lead. I don't want to mix again.
Okay.
So I need to really empty my ferry tank. If the normal flight, the fuel pump never empty the tank. They always left some fuel at the bottom.
Right.
So I have to use my flight skill to empty it. Use the gravity. The aircraft fly one wing low, and the gravity to feed the fuel from the ferry tank to the main tank. So it's one step on the right rudder and the left aileron, and the aircraft fly this way.
So I mean, everything is about how well you know this plane, how well you manage this flight.
Think ahead. Everything is think ahead. Think ahead.
Everything under control.
Yeah.
After a stop in Guam, Julie Wang continued her flight across the Pacific Ocean towards Asia. Her first stop was a city called Angeles in the Philippines after a 10-hour flight.
The Philippines start to have typhoon. So that time thunderstorms there, but I'm very familiar with that kind of weather. 6 years flight training in Florida.
So that's not difficult.
And it's a daytime. So I look at the cloud. I know where I can fly in, where I cannot. I know that energy.
Oh, wow.
If you see the cloud have very clear edge, don't fly in. And vertical develop, don't fly in. And there's a fade out like fog. The shape not clear, you can penetrate it. So it's daytime, I know the cloud very well. So I flew in. I'm like flying into the milk. And nothing else I can see is white, like milk. So only thing I can see is cockpit instrument gauges.
So once again, it's all based on your knowledge.
Yeah.
That's your best preparation.
Yeah.
Your knowledge about this plane, your knowledge about flying, your knowledge about how to read weather, the knowledge about how to read actually the surroundings, the nature.
The nature, yeah.
What about the one when you in China, the leg in China, you landed in Haikou.
Haikou.
In Hainan Island.
Yeah.
How was that one? How did you feel? I mean, it's to be in a Chinese, to be flying this around the world trip and then landed in a Chinese city. How did it feel?
When I flew into China aerospace, I already feel so excited and very strange feeling.
Did you speak Chinese with the?
No, English.
It's all in English.
Only English because of my airplane is registered in the United States. It's an American airplane, and my certificate is FAA certificate. So under this rule, I only can speak English to them.
That's by the rule.
Yeah.
Wow. No Chinese allowed.
No. But Chinese ATC really great. They are bilingual. And they switch language really fast. They talk to me in English, they talk to Chinese in Chinese. And it's like they have a button in their brain that just change the language.
Switch,
yeah. They're great.
When did you land? In the daytime or in the night?
Sunset. It's a beautiful sunset.
That's like the most beautiful moment.
Exactly, it's really nice.
The tranquility of Julie Wang's landing in China would continue as she flew over Vietnam and Laos before landing in Pattaya, Thailand. But this serenity would come to an end when she took off for Ahmedabad in India. What about the most dangerous one, the most dangerous leg?
One is flew over India.
Did you land in India?
Yes.
You did?
That was West Coast India, northwest. And that was a night flight. Okay, I took off from Thailand and I checked the weather. I knew there was a big thunderstorm, cumulonimbus moving around the area and moving toward northbound. I took off. I look at the weather trend. I know it's going to be okay. Not sure, but if not okay, I'm going to deviate to the south, which is the left.
Could you see it on your screen?
No, it's just before I leave Thailand, I check the weather, do the briefing to myself, really study the weather carefully, try to understand the trends after 7 hours later will be what kind of weather there.
Could you receive any signals on your mobile phone that high?
I have a satellite signal,
Okay.
only can send short messages.
But no graphics, no videos,
No,
so all
nothing.
these information,
Nothing, just send message.
real-time information you won't be able to get
No.
in the air.
So that time, when I get to the thunderstorm area and lightnings light up the sky.
You could
the night
see
sky,
that?
Yeah, a lot of lightnings. And I use those moments, the lightning light up the sky, to see the edge of the cloud and to make decision where I deviate.
So at the time, you were in the air flying the plane.
Yeah.
Right in front of you, you could see the lightning, you could see the storm.
Yeah.
Not scared at all.
Not scared at all.
From India, Wang passed through the Middle East over Pakistan, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia and Egypt before landing in Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. She then crossed the Mediterranean Sea, making quick stops on the southern Greek island of Crete, as well as nearby Malta. Which leg is the most beautiful leg?
Cross the Atlantic Ocean.
Atlantic.
In Lisbon, I really enjoyed the Lisbon food and Lisbon culture a lot. I wanted to stay in Lisbon for one more day, and I checked the weather. No, there's a weather window. If I don't take off, not that next day, probably have to wait for 1 week. It's bad weather. The Atlantic Ocean you often have the bad weather. And I set myself up for a very long day that ultimately keep myself awake for nearly 30 hours straight.
No sleep.
No sleep.
Is it also dangerous for this journey? Because, you know, if you didn't rest well, then that could also affect the coming legs.
No, I know
fine.
myself. I know
Okay.
myself. I know myself very well.
No.
And I was chasing the sunset, like never ending. It's because I flew the westbound.
That's
Really,
right.
yeah.
That's right.
It's so beautiful. And
The longest sunset.
yeah, and Atlantic Ocean has one of the most beautiful ocean I have ever seen. It's a pure, bright, saturated blue.
Wow.
And that kind of color really confounded all my expectations of Atlantic as being dark and nasty.
Julie Wang made multiple stops along the Atlantic Ocean. She stopped at Santa Maria Island in the Azores region of Portugal and on St. John's of Newfoundland, Canada. The end of Wang's journey was then near once she reached the United States. She made further landings in Bangor, Maine, and Stuart, Florida, before finally reaching Dallas, Texas, where her journey began. Relatively speaking, you're a new pilot because
Yeah.
you only started your flying career like 5-6 years ago?
Yeah,
In 2010.
2010.
And before that, you were in the
I
advertising industry.
correct.
It's crazy. Two totally different areas.
Yeah, advertising is the career I love. I really love it. That's my own choice. I grew up surrounded by aerospace engineering professors, my parents, my neighbors. When I was in the university, my parents pushed me to learn computer software. And second year, I quit. I said, I know what I love. I want to be an admin. I want to be a great admin like Ogilvy. So that's my choice.
Okay.
So after 17 years in advertising industry,
17 years.
yes,
Not an easy decision to say no.
yeah,
To
I
quit
love it,
that
and
career.
I did pretty successful in this area. And my family have to move to the United States, and I told my husband, "You move back first." Really, I'm not sure if I move to United States, what I'm going to do there. It's advertising so much rely on the culture. I moved to United States. I don't think I can continue my advertising career. After I moved to United States, I start to learn to fly, start to learn to drive the car, start to learn English at the same time. And that English really doesn't work because of aviation English is very special. It's another kind of language.
Technical terms.
Yeah, it's very technical. Just because of I have enough motivation to do it. I know that's my dream. And I'm pretty lucky. Life, not long. If you have chance to make your 2 dreams real in your life, it's really lucky.
If you go back to your childhood, if you go back to your advertising career, do you see all these connections? I mean,
no.
Because you're always this rational one, you're always logical, you're always cool no matter what happens, never panic, not always emotional. Where did you get that quality?
When I was about 18 years old, I thought I don't like to be an engineer. And my parents all were engineers. And they said, you should be engineer. Don't learn something like advertising. My parents, especially my father, really forced me to learn mathematics a lot. And train my brain to be very logic. So that's already, from the childhood, already like that.
That's the foundation.
Yeah, but I didn't know to be a pilot, so much engineering knowledge involved. But because I have enough motivation to push myself to learn those technical things. And I realized I love it.
To be a pilot and to fly around the world trip are 2 different things.
It's 2 different things. I always challenge myself. Without challenge, after 5-6 years, I'm already a flight instructor, and every day a flight for me is a normal life and less and less challenge. And no, that's not right. I need that challenge and to make myself better and better and better. And I take this challenge, check myself. And also, my father passed away 2 years ago. So last year I did this kind of tribute to him and to that generation, the aviation generation in China. All of my uncles, my parents' friends, all working in this industry. You
said you always wanted to challenge yourself, to do something more exciting in the future. And now you've done this. What's next?
I'm already doing my next now.
What is it?
I'm working for Silver Airways and flying the bigger plane, take the passengers. It's called Part 121 airline, commercial airline.
So that's a passenger plane.
Passenger
but
plane.
Not as, well, I guess not as exciting as flying a plane like this solo?
No, it's totally different. And more responsibilities. It's more life behind of you. You're have to take care of them. Really, it's more responsibilities. And I need to be a better pilot, never ending to be better pilot.
All right, probably I'll just bump into you, say, who's the pilot? Hey, it happens to be Julie. All right, all right, thank you. Thank you for your stories. Thank you for spending the time in Icon. Thank you for your time.